Good morning, Queens Grand High School, class of 22. Here we go. We are. All right, thank you.
Good morning. It is a great privilege to lead this wonderful ceremony and incredible event for the amazing class of 2022. I'm also extremely glad and very proud to have this great group of educators down here in the front left. Thank you. I'm so lucky to do what I can do to help each one of them help shape in their roles of helping these graduates reach this point. But ultimately, we are excited and thrilled to share this great moment with all of you. This has been an amazing class with a lot of character. We appreciate all of you for coming, and we appreciate Ovens for having us. I'm honored to be the principal of Queens Grand High School. I'm proud to start this celebratory day for these tremendous young adults. This event is for all of our graduates. It's all about them. As a principal, this may be my favorite day of the year, except for the speaking part. Seriously, there's no greater feeling in this world as an educator to be able to help these students start finding their dreams. I'm here to begin the 2022 commencement ceremony at Ovens Auditorium, a place where musical legends like the Beach Boys, Louis Armstrong, Diana Ross, Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, and even Elvis performed. That's pretty cool. In addition to that, comedians of all genres and styles like Robin Williams, George Lopez, and Jerry Seinfeld, just to name a few. But today, it's all about Queens Grand High School and the class of 2022. Here is Miss Beth Warschauer with our first presentation.
Good morning. Graduates, we are all so proud of you and celebrate you all on this very special day. My name is Beth Warschauer, and I'm an English teacher here at Queens Grant. I'm here today to introduce two incredibly bright, creative, and hardworking young women who have maintained such a high standard of academic excellence and thus been named salutatorian and valedictorian of this year's senior class. I've had the pleasure of teaching both these young women for the last 2 years, but I especially enjoyed having them in person in AP Lit this year. Both showed great insight into the material we read and expressed themselves with great sophistication in their writing, both of which you might expect of the top 2 students in the class. What I want you to know are the characteristics that make these 2 young women stand apart from their peers and foreshadow the amazing accomplishments these 2 will have as they move into the next chapter of their lives. I don't remember exactly when I noticed Sydney Bowie's shoes. Not so much her shoes per se, but what she had strung on the laces across the toe. Carpe diem. We study this literary tradition that speaks to seizing the day, making the most of every moment. Sydney certainly embodies this tradition in her role as president of the Beta Club, member of the National Honor Society, and in her volunteer work at the Charmeck Library. She is an all-in kind of person. She seemed tired for several days earlier this spring, and when I checked in to see if she was struggling with senioritis or COVID fatigue or any of the many other issues our seniors face this year, she told me she was working on the sets for the lower school spring play. Seems her younger sister was a member of the cast, and Sydney wanted to show her support for her and her fellow actors. This support and care for her family and from her family is yet another example of seizing every moment. It has led to her being grounded and deliberate with a maturity beyond her years. During our class study of the Carpe Diem poems, Mrs. McCartney, one of the Latin teachers, happened to be walking by and stuck her head in to remind me that the phrase Carpe Diem doesn't actually mean seize the day, but pluck the day. Rather than it being this confident, strong grasping of opportunities, it is really a gentle tug, a small, delicate movement full of grace and patience. As counterintuitive as it might sound, this too describes Sydney. One look at her paintings and drawings illustrates this. Yes, she often uses bold colors and strokes, but even these convey an intricacy and insight into her subjects. She also displays this sensitivity with her friends, knowing instantly when someone she was close to was feeling the effects of too much pandemic isolation. So yes, Sydney is both confident and gentle, strong and delicate, able to both recognize and seize a moment, as well as use her intuition to gently pluck and gather small things around her. She will take these traits with her later this summer as she moves to Savannah to attend the Savannah College of Art and Design, and later out into the world. This unique combination of opposites positions her to do meaningful and exciting things as she makes her way through this next chapter. It is my honor to introduce Sydney Bowie, salutatorian of the class of 2022.
Good morning, families, friends, and staff, and thank you for attending Queens Grant High School's 2021-22 commencement ceremony. My name is Sydney Bowie, and as salutatorian, I'd like to congratulate all of the graduates for not only working towards this point, but for the achievements you've received thus far. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my two in-person teachers this year, Ms. Shelley Tippett and Mrs. Beth Warschauer, not only for being incredibly impactful in the culmination of my high school career, but for maintaining some sense of normalcy and grace for students like myself who've spent over a year and a half in virtual school. Huge thanks to the magnificent Mrs. Ubriaco on behalf of our entire class. It is irrefutable that without your commitment, this year could not have been as successful as it has been. Ultimately, my greatest thanks goes to my parents, who have supported me endlessly in my passions for art and creating, but supported all of my friends. As I mentioned, all of us graduates have lived through unprecedented circumstances, out of school and isolated from our friends, during the years other generations refer to as the greatest of our lives. We went from being sophomores to seniors without much of the fanfare that is glorified endlessly in the media. However, I believe all of us here today are intimately familiar with the circumstances that have arisen from the COVID-19 pandemic, and those circumstances that still persevere today. So I prefer not to dwell on the subject. Likewise, it would be a disservice to healthcare workers, essential workers, and those still facing the repercussions of COVID-19, not to mention it at all. All of this is to say, I found it truly commendable for us graduates to have gone through this and still managed to walk across this stage today. Some of you may know or be familiar with my senior quote, which is simply, "Be the cowboy," the album title of one of my favorite musicians and creatives, Mitski Miyawaki. While seemingly inconsequential, the phrase has become somewhat of a borrowed affirmation about living unapologetically. When asked in interviews, Mitski initially states that she is considering the exaggerated myth of the Western cowboy. It stems not only from a mantra of, "Be the cowboy you wish to see in the world," but she says that every time I would find myself doing exactly what the world expects of me as an Asian woman, I would turn around and tell myself, well, what would a cowboy do? In her definitions of cowboys, she also credits an idea of freedom and arrogance, exclaiming she was attracted to the fantasy of living without confinement to her individuality. However, she did not state that the life you lead would be without consequences, responsibility, or accountability. Even as a cowboy, you must answer to at least yourself and a personal idea of success at the end of the day. I'd already strongly identified with Mitski as a queer Vietnamese American woman, so learning this explanation, I'd noticed that by shying away from aspects of my identity, I'd been somewhat dishonest to myself and others. I had not been a cowboy. After realizing this, I began to wonder about both the conscious and subconscious habits that I'd taken on in order to present myself in a more palatable fashion. One of these habits is my tendency to use the phrase, "Does that make sense?" as some sort of punctuation. I'd go about my way of explaining my thoughts or feelings to my peers, friends, and family even, just to undermine myself with such a simple expression. I don't necessarily need that outside affirmation, especially when later in life I don't want to be seen as incompetent or non-confident in my abilities. While I'd like to say, don't let yourself be underestimated by others, I firmly believe that this ideal begins with no longer underestimating or devaluing yourself. One of the teaching from my father, from his father, that has been instilled in me and no doubt my 4 sisters is to walk to your own beat. So now I wonder how I ever could have doubted myself enough to start this mannerism. In my efforts to establish a generally healthier relationship with myself, this past year I've resolved to be overall more confident in myself and my commitments that I make. I've adopted the be the cowboy mentality, and I'm sure this is now recognizable to my friends and family. At this moment, when all of us graduates have the opportunity to take the proverbial bull by the horns, live unapologetically, while also remaining responsible and accountable for the life you do lead. Be your own version of a cowboy. Because in the words of Alucard Tepesh, it's been a strange ride. I'm happy it's over. The funny thing is, for the first time in my life, I have absolutely no idea what happens next. I just have a feeling that it's going to be worth it. It has been a strange ride, but we as a class have and will continue to feel that it is worth it. Thank you.
Me again. Vivian Wynn is a powerhouse. Now, she isn't going to be the loudest one in the room, nor is she going to be clamoring for attention in the midst of a larger group. She is most likely going to be quietly giggling and making those around her laugh with her wit and her disarming sense of humor. In class, Vivian is focused and observant. She is insightful, bright, hardworking, involved in the National Honor Society, serving as treasurer of the Beta Club, volunteering through the Medical Careers Club at school, and serving as a teen volunteer at the Charmeck Library. All the things you would expect the valedictorian to be. She is the epitome of a perfect student. In English class, we the teachers are constantly encouraging, coaching, and in some cases pushing students to look between the lines, asking the questions of why, how, to what degree, as we encourage discussion and understanding of the material. As I mentioned before with Vivian, it doesn't take much for her to master concepts and ideas. She reads, understands, and writes with such insight and fluency. I sometimes felt I learned more from her than she did from me. Yet I still thought that I fell short of seeing all there is in her, of challenging her, academically stretching her mind, bringing out the brilliance she possesses. It is in these moments, though, this past year, that most excited me about Vivian. She is heading to Western Carolina to study forensic science, looking at evidence to see what story it tells. She will be the one tasked with discovering the answers to the questions surrounding events and actions that have seriously impacted lives. It is one thing to easily dissect conflict in a novel, quite another to discern cause and responsibility for crimes. Yet her untapped potential for seeing deep beneath the surface, coupled with her immense academic curiosity, positions her for a future of immeasurable success and profound impact in our world. In the words of her favorite singer, QGHS, you know that I can see right through you. I can read your mind. I can hear your thoughts like a melody. You know I got a lot to say, all these voices in the background of my brain. All of us here today, as well as those in her future, are eager to hear what Vivian has to say as she shares the wisdom and brilliance of the voices in the background of her brain. Her potential will have a meaningful impact on our world. I present to you Vivian Wynn, valedictorian of the class of 2022.
Good morning, graduates, family and friends, faculty, and staff. Before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to formally introduce myself to you all. My name is Vivian Nguyen. I am the eldest daughter of 2 Vietnamese immigrants, and I am a first-generation student. I would not be here without my parents' support, and I'd like to acknowledge and thank them for their sacrifices. Come on, Mom. Come on, Ba. I cannot thank the both of you enough for always pushing me to do my best. I would also like to thank the rest of my family and my closest friends for always believing in me and for being my rock. Thank you to all the Queen's Grant teachers for being so resilient, especially amidst the pandemic, and for somehow managing to provide us a learning environment while we were stuck at home. Last but not least, I would like to give a special thank you to 2 women who have guided me through my last couple of years of high school, Mrs. Warschauer and Mrs. Zubriaco. Your hard work and dedication to not only the seniors, but also to the other classes does not go unnoticed. And I speak for the class of 2022 when I say none of this would be possible without you two. I'll keep this short and sweet, and I'll even be perfectly honest. I never intended to be valedictorian. I'm not trying to downplay my hard work or try to say I regret being at the top of the class, but I can barely speak in front of a classroom of 20, yet here I am, giving my commencement speech in front of a crowd of hundreds. The actual reason I am up on this stage giving the speech right now is because I have an intense fear of failure. I've always felt the pressure to succeed, and I've always had high expectations for myself, manifesting itself in the form of getting good grades. As the oldest sibling, I felt as though the weight of being the perfect student, the perfect daughter, and the perfect sister were on my shoulders. I had to be a role model for my younger brother and even my younger cousins. And more often than not, I found myself locked away in my room, working on assignment after assignment, project after project, losing myself in the midst of maintaining straight A's. I craved academic validation, basing my worth of how close my grades were to a perfect 100. With that being said, class of 2022, I want to remind you all that your grades do not determine your future success, nor do they define who you are. We are all capable of different, remarkable things and should not limit ourselves to what our academic grading system tells us. Seriously though, they are just some silly little numbers. Me being up here does not mean I'm smarter or more capable than anyone else in this room. And after all, we are the class that lived through a pandemic before even making it halfway through high school, and that in and of itself is a feat. Everyone's path is different, and whether you choose to go to a four-year university or go right into a full-time job does not matter, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't compare our own achievements to others' accomplishments. We are still just some kids after all, despite the law seeing the age 18 as being a legal adult. We won't always have things figured out, but that doesn't mean that we aren't all just trying our best to make it in the world. However, graduates, I still expect nothing less than greatness from each and every one of you. The world we live in today is riddled with unprecedented events, and it is up to us to be the difference we want to see in the world. We can't wait around for others to do this job for us. And this might sound cliche, but we are the future, and it is ultimately up to us to change the world we live in for the better. One last thing. We cannot talk about the present and the future without mentioning those who have helped us get here. Right before winter break, my grandma passed away. The one person I wanted to see me graduate the most. She was always proud of every one of my accomplishments and was the one that pushed me to pursue the career that my heart desired. I know I'm not the only one that has lost someone important to them this year. So, graduates, as we celebrate the end of this chapter of our lives today, I would like for you all to at least take a moment today to commemorate those that have helped you get here. If there's anything I've learned in my last year of high school, it's that life can be taken away from us at any given moment. So we should cherish our fondest memories and the ones we hold dear to our hearts, because they won't be around forever. Graduates, I am so proud of each and every one of you, and I'm honored to be graduating alongside you all today. Thank you.
Good morning, class of 2022. Today we are here to recognize and celebrate all the amazing accomplishments of this class. I'm Max Ubriaco.
And I'm Emily Ratelski, and I'm crying.
To start off, the class of 2022 has received over $5.7 million in scholarships and merit money, with 25 offers north of $20,000 or more per year, or in other words, enough to buy several large gyms for the school. Our valedictorian, Vivian Nguyen, will be attending Western Carolina, and our salutatorian, Sydney Bowie, will be attending SCAD, or the Savannah College of Art and Design. One of our seniors, Gretel Gomez Reyes, will be attending Dominican University in Illinois on a full ride. And Tiffany Grant received the prestigious Presidential Scholarship and Odyssey Scholarship from Elon University, which she'll be attending this fall. Leah Patrum also won a scholarship from North Carolina Teaching Fellows and will be attending UNCC this fall to pursue a career in education.
The seniors were very involved in a wide variety of clubs and organizations here at Queens Grant, including YCI, NHS, Beta Club, and Student Council. Student councils collected a full pallet and a half of food for the food drive that benefited local families and hosted 2 full days of field activities that included putting Mr. Morris in the dunk tank. There were 2 blood drives this year organized by the student council. For the first blood drive, so many students signed up to donate that they had another blood mobile when we did the second one. The blood donated helped 216 patients in the local area. Bella Larson donated more times than any other senior and received an honor cord for her selflessness. YCI senior leaders Lacey Brooks and Tiffany Grant kept the club going through COVID by planning all the meetings and keeping everyone engaged. Some activities included the Special Olympics and Operation Christmas Child, which Beta Club also attended. NHS collected household goods and had a field trip to Furnish for Good in downtown Charlotte. Noah Caldwell was selected to the Western Region Honors Orchestra for 2021 and 2022, for the Charlotte Metro Charter School Honors Band and the Youth Orchestras of Charlotte for 2018 through 2022. Noah plays the double bass. Alex Reyes was selected to the Pfeiffer University Honors Band in the Charlotte Metro Charter School Honors Band.
All right, now for some sports. The class of 2022 has had an amazing athletic accomplishments as well as academic achievements. QGHS baseball finished the season second in the conference with senior Alwyn Duran making the all-conference. Alwyn also led the 1A West Division in batting average and RBIs and was the QGHS Male Athlete of the Year. Basketball. The class of 2022 led the boys basketball team to a 19-8 overall record, 11-3 in the conference, finishing second. They made the state playoffs, and seniors Jaden Covington, Laurel Covington, and Cyrus Faraday all made all conference. 4 seniors, Jaden Covington, Laurel Covington, Cyrus Faraday, and Connor Leach consistently made A honor roll throughout the year. Connor Leach was the QGHS Male Student Athlete of the Year. Girls soccer. Susie Rowell and Caitlin Ham were awarded all-conference for girls soccer. Susie Rowell, who is QGHS Female Athlete of the Year, will be playing soccer at the University of South Carolina Lancaster next year. Macy Lucia will also be playing soccer for William Peace University next year. Softball won a record 14 games this season. The team was both the regular season conference champions and the conference tournament champions, both the first time in school history. They qualified for the state playoffs for the second consecutive year and won their first round game, another school first. They were 5 all-conference players, including senior Natalie McGall, sorry if I mispronounced that, senior Genesis Abreu. Senior Genesis Abreu was the first QGHS Female Student Athlete of the Year. Track and field. Haley Goodman was all-conference in shot put and discus. She was also a regional qualifier and placed 5th in the regional meet in shot put. For girls tennis, Lacey Brooks made it to regionals for doubles with Bethany Phillips.
Lacey Brooks has been in Girl Scouts for 12 years and received the bronze and silver awards. Destiny Moultrie came in second for the Women's Home and Overseas Missionary Society's annual district project for raising money for overseas missions.
The class of 2022 has 3 seniors who will be entering the military directly out of high school. Brian Montgomery is in the North Carolina Army National Guard. He has actually been in since November 2021. Christopher Kim will be entering the United States Air Force, and Aiden Stewart will also be entering the United States Air Force. It's safe to say that the class of 2022 accomplished a ton this year, so can we get one big round of applause for the class of 2022?
Hello again. The Principals Award is something that's pretty straightforward. This year, like last year and the year before, it came to me and it's stuck since probably October. This year, Tiffany Grant has been involved in just about everything. She comes up here, you'll see the chords and everything else. But ultimately, it's her character, her spirit, and her dedication to the school that has showed me that she is the recipient of the Principals Award. She's played volleyball and was homecoming queen. She's done so much for our school. But we have big aspirations and expectations for Tiffany when she goes to Elon and studies biology. Tiffany Grant is this year's recipient for the Principals Award for showing compassion, respect, character, and being a great example for our school and the Queens Grant community. Tiffany Grant.
Thank you, Dr. Swartzlander, for that wonderful introduction. My name is Tiffany Grant. It is my distinct honor to be addressing you all today. My dearest friends and teachers, my mom, dad, and sister, families and guests, thank you all for allowing me to speak to you today. This is a day that I will remember for many years to come. Standing here in front of everyone, I look back and reflect on the 4-year legacy that we have made together. And I must say, I'm nothing but proud of it. To my fellow classmates, we have shared many memories and experiences along the way. And for this, I'm deeply grateful for. Today is a day for both looking forward and backwards, for looking towards the future and what it may hold, and for also reflecting on the many memories we have made along the way. Of course, I must also thank the school and our teachers, who have taught us and watched us grow into the young adults that we are becoming today. It is because of their hard work, wisdom, and precious time that we are all sitting here today. And I know that some of the lessons that they have taught us will stick with us as we go into our future endeavors. Last but not least, I cannot give a speech without mentioning and thanking my parents, who have been my #1 support and inspiration throughout my time in high school. It is because of them and mine I've worked my hardest throughout my high school career. And without them, I do not believe that I'll be graduating, let alone standing here before you giving this speech. Today, I feel very privileged and honored to stand here in front of you all. A year ago, I stood in the crowd as junior marshal as I listened to Trace Guskuis give his speech as valedictorian. I said to myself, regardless of how great my grades were, I do not want to stand in front of a huge crowd and give a speech. Yet, here I am today. I can definitely say within these past years, I've changed tremendously. Haven't we all? Freshman year, I walked into Queens Grant as a scared little puppy, and now I walk around as if I own the school. Who knew that our last real year of high school would have been our first? Now, these past 4 years have been nothing short of crazy. It amazes me as we reminisce about when we were innocent freshmen, taking our very first steps on campus, blissfully unaware of how our high school career would have been cut short, and then all of a sudden, having our entire student lifestyle flipped upside down as we entered a worldwide pandemic. They said we'd be out for 2 weeks. Here we are at graduation, about to turn that tassel. As we get ready to close another chapter in our lives and enter a new one, whether it be at a 4-year university, a community college, or going straight into the workforce, I encourage you all, take on those small everyday events that are now just memories. These last few weeks of high school, without realizing it, we had our last walks to class together with all of our peers, our last trip to the learning lab, for some, our last time being in the same room with all of our peers and teachers today. Although COVID took a decent amount of our high school experience, I will forever remember Mr. Gershill's notorious lit wills. The conversations we had in that class freshman year. What is time? I'm still pondering on that answer. Having a buffet-style learning environment in Mr. Coleman's classroom. Attending homecoming and Spirit Week. Attending prom, and the countless of senior events that took place this year, like senior tag. I'm still bummed that Chris Kim went to the very extent of figuring out my route to class just to tag me. I feel like our high school experience at Queens Grant has been unlike any other. Both past and future generations cannot compare. Growing up, you hear the extravagant stories from our parents and the adults in our life of how times were when they were our age and in school. Something along the lines of, when I was your age, I had to, and they would fill in that blank. For me, it went like, do you know how many miles I had to walk to go to school? The things I had to do before going to school? So don't waste your time while you're at school. It was almost like reading a fictional book. Like, wow, you did all of that? Now this is to say that we have our story to tell the generation behind us, our extravagant story. How we went through high school during a pandemic, how majority of our high school career was taking place online. How even in the midst of it all, we were still able to create those fun, blissful memories. I encourage you all, as you go into the next chapters of your life, create your extravagant story. Be bold in everything that you do, and stay true to yourself. Follow the same impulses of ambition and hard work that has brought us all here to this point. It was my great honor to receive the 2022 Principals Award. Thank you all, and my fellow classmates, we did it.
There's something new for this graduation ceremony. And as we sat on the committee trying to find out what we would do, since, as COVID has done, wrecked a lot of our plans. I've had 4 graduations over the last 4 years to oversee, and not one of them has been the same. So nothing has stayed consistent. We originally planned to be at the school campus, but as the restrictions changed, it kind of allowed us the opportunity to start looking for a venue. And Ms. Ubriaco and the rest of our families were able to find a way for us to get into Ovens, and it's turned out to be a very nice event. The award we came up with was the Resilience Award. And the reason for this award is a lot of students go through their 4 years and they get acknowledged for a lot of their clubs and accolades and grades, but sometimes there are things going beyond in their lives, behind the scenes, that could really break their spirits. And instead, they were more enthusiastic. They were more Queens Grant spirited. So it is my pleasure to announce the 3 recipients. The 3 recipients will come up here and they may speak if they'd like. Our first recipient is Miss Shayla O'Brien. The second recipient is Mr. Amarian Howie.
Okay. Good morning. Before I begin, I want to thank everyone for coming out today to support us on this momentous occasion. I want to thank our many teachers who put in the time and effort and countless nights grading and turned it into an investment for our future. I think I can speak for all of us in saying that you're very much appreciated. And to the class of 2022, we did it, y'all. We got here and I couldn't wish for better people to spend it with. And as many as you know, I'm Amari and Howie, but most everyone calls me Amari. I've been told that I'm a bit of a social butterfly, and I like to think it's true. I love talking to people, making them laugh and smile, and sometimes think a bit deeper. But behind my antics and my jokes, a lot has happened to me this past year, most of which I'm not at the liberty to tell. But what I will say is that I did not let my struggles define me. Though I can't tell you specifically what I've been through to get to this spot, I'll tell you how I overcame them. And maybe someone out there who might be silently struggling on their own will hear my words and take a piece of it with them. But if you're a hippity dandy, I get that too. I don't want to be here before you too long, so I'll only say a few things. But the first thing that got me, and perhaps the most impactful, was my mother. Seeing her smile and giving her a better day was my motivation. Whenever I felt down or like I couldn't go any further, she was there to let me know that I'm not alone. Though she wasn't with me physically, her heart always was, and it drove me and it made me who I am today. And I strive to make her as proud as she makes me. So to my fellow seniors, maybe we all don't have the same story, but there's one thing I can say is that to try and find your motivation. For some, it'll be your parents, a close friend, and even others, it'll be themselves and bettering their own lives. But whatever you do, find that one thing that will give you an extra push when you feel empty. Another big factor was the ability to slow down time. Now, I don't have superpowers, but I choose parts of my day where I would sit back and take life in. I press pause on my worries and my regrets, and I let the sun shine on my face. Your brain is constantly jumping from one thing to another. It's almost like we're worker bees, and we tend to overlook resting besides going to sleep every night. I like to take maybe 15 minutes of my day to just be calm and in the present moment. Happiness is amazing, but we tend to overlook calmness. Being calm, especially while making decisions, allows your mind to find solutions. Calmness is also a state of trust, a trust in who you are. Instead of overthinking and overreacting, you just surrender for that moment and allow yourself to feel the air and energy around you. I challenge you to take those 5 or 10 minutes to take a breather, to slow down time. And last but not least, it's finding the right people to support me, learning who I can and who I can't talk to about the situations in my life. The friends I have now, the family here today, and my teachers all helped me up. My days were never short of a smile or a joke for any of them. I love you, Ms. Frederick. Through everything, they were the ones I could look up to and go to for anything. I had to learn a crucial lesson, though. You can't vent to everyone. And for my parents, venting basically means going to people about your problems. This may seem negative, but not really. It's all perspective. It's not a statement that means don't vent to people and don't talk about your problems. It means to heal without venting to everyone, which I believe is the key word because everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. Everybody doesn't care. You can vent to people and not receive any relief, or they take that information and do something malicious. So I think it's about being selective with who you decide to share with. And on the other side, I feel like it encourages us to sharpen our tools. A lot of people tend to dodge and run away and procrastinate when it comes to life problems. Or we search for others to validate our emotions, when there are many processes we can do as individuals to better understand ourselves along with our thoughts, but only if we aren't scared to put in the work and maybe feel a little uncomfortable. And to close out, there's a quote that I've tried to live by this year, and it's one I think will help in our upcoming years, and it goes as such. Please make sure that wherever you are in life, you don't treat it like a transitory period. Don't waste your college years wishing to be already graduated and have a job. Don't waste your single years wishing for someone to be in love with. If and when those things come, they will come in due time, and they will be good. But there's nothing like looking back and feeling empty because you wasted literal years ignoring what you had because you were hoping for something better. While it's important to better yourself and reach for your goals, don't neglect the present because that's where you are now. And it's your now that determines your future. Thank you.
Amarian. And our third recipient, Gretel Gomez Reyes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope we're all doing well today. My name is Gretel Gomez, and I am proud to stand alongside today my two best friends, Amarian and Vivian, as we share our struggles throughout our senior year and some of the greatest memories we've made. As they share their realities with you, I want to share mine. One of the hardest things I've ever had to listen to was someone telling me that I would grow up to sell hot dogs on the street. Now, the worst part isn't that I would have worked in the heat or that I would have sold meat as a vegetarian, but the worst part is that I've devoted my life to typing away at a computer to provide justice and protection for our community. As a hot dog vendor, I might have been too worried on whether I would put mustard or ketchup on your food. And up to a few years ago, this was the honest expectations that I had for myself. My family and I started from ground zero. I had no documentation, no primary doctor or dentist, or even a way to communicate myself with the culture and people around me. For years, America was a scary place, a place where I stood as no one, where I was an easy target for social and racist stereotypes. From the beginning, my parents sought to break their limits as Hispanic immigrants and proclaimed a better future for my brothers and I. Since the age of 6, I had to learn 3 languages at the same time, apart from learning to translate for my parents, understand legal documentation, and overall part in the settlement of our roots in the U.S. Up until I was in 5th grade, I couldn't comprehend the legality and meaning behind being an undocumented child in the U.S. In middle school, I began to realize my peers had many advantages I didn't. For the longest time, I thought I couldn't apply to college, scholarships, driver's ed, and almost everything I had hoped for in my future was impossible to reach. And not because I set limits for myself, but because I didn't have a paper with 9 numbers on it. For a moment, I ask you to hold back your opinions on immigration policy or whether you think I deserve to be here. I have only ever known America, the people, our culture, and our way of functioning as a whole. In July of 2021, my mom got me a volunteering opportunity with a nonprofit organization called the LAC. For the past year, I've had to experience many heavy cases involving family issues, homeless teens, landlord issues, rape, human trafficking, and abandonment, alongside many, many other difficult cases our families and our community has had to face. As a young woman, it's sad to say I've also had my fair share of dealing with assault, and I've overcome that within my own time. But these challenges gave me a meaning, a fire that burns deep within me and grows every day. As of 2020, I decided I wanted to work in child exploitation cases, whether it be with another organization, the police department, the FBI, or even as a lawyer. As I stand before you, I cannot tell you what my future holds. I cannot tell you whether I'll die tomorrow or die after retirement. You may be thinking, wow, human trafficking, that's a lot for a 5-foot-tall 17-year-old. And in the beginning, it might be, but we only get one life, and I don't want it to go to waste. Folks always ask me, why are you doing so much if no one's ever gonna remember your name? And my answer is, why not? If I let embarrassment and shyness hold me back, I would not have gotten as far as I have. Reality can be cruel and difficult, but we define how we perceive life's events and how we take action. My family and I have been extremely lucky to stand alongside you as citizens now, but that wasn't always the case. When I started the college application process, it was hard balancing work, school, and home without letting them bleed into each other. I got into all the schools I applied for, and I even received scholarships to all of them, and yet the money was never enough. In February, alongside Ms. Warschauer and Ms. Ubriaco, I was able to submit a scholarship application that I had only a week to prepare for, and on top of that scholarship, it was for a full ride. As of today, I proudly stand in front of you as a Dream.US Opportunity Scholar with a full ride to Dominican University in Chicago, Illinois. Now you may look at me with all these strings and medals hanging from my neck, but these weren't given to me for nothing. I spent these past 4 years building my strength, character, intelligence, and determination to be part of the solution. One of the things I have always detested is when people make excuses as to why they can't accomplish something. My mother always told me that if you really want something, you'll make it happen and you'll get it done. I come from a hardworking family, and despite my environment growing up, I persevered. From a young age, high expectations were set for me, and everything I had accomplished was not surprising to anyone. But I want to stand before you and admit that I struggled, and it was hard, and there were long, lonely nights that almost seemed endless. I grew up in America knowing the risks of just being in this country and working. We all come here to live the American dream, but I can tell you now that I am that dream. For the majority of my life, I was considered a no one in our system. Imagine starting from zero. I mean, no papers, no language skills, nothing. I made someone out of myself, and I have made many people proud despite only scratching the surface of my potential. I have dealt with a lot in my life, but I've come this far from nothing, and I expect no less from everyone else, especially my classmates. As a wise man once said, there isn't any shame in being weak. The shame is in staying weak. Thank you.
And now the part that our class of 2022 has been waiting for, the time for their diplomas.
Genesis Maria Abreu. Caden Marshall Accord. Rosemary Guadalupe Ambrosio Martinez. Sefadine Hisham Asfar. Keyshawn James Ashton. Andres Daniel Ayala Valles. Nigel Malachi Bien Ame. Lacey Elizabeth Brooks. Tahir Quadre Brown. Sydney Elise Bowie. Noah William Caldwell. Rebecca Grace Carmichael. Jonathan Clark. Ariana Anastasia Kluel. Haley Elizabeth Cooper. Jaden Adams Covington. Laurel Adams Covington. Jeremiah Isaiah Davis. Alwyn Jose Duran. Edwin Duran. Talia Ellis. Emily Danielle Edders. Cyrus Sean Faraday. Theodore Mercer Fischel. Alan James Fisher. Angela Lynn Foster. Marina Catherine Ruth French. Patrick Angelo Gargano. Gretel Victoria Gomez Reyes. Kinsey Elizabeth Gooding. Haley Brooke Goodman. Daniel Joseph Gata. Tiffany Marie Grant. Francisco Javier Gutierrez. Caitlin Alyssa Ham. Cameron Noel Hart. Jacob Ryan Hardis. William Joseph Hill. Jariah David Horn. Caleb Robert Howell. Amarion LeRae Howie. Eleni Christina Hunt. Christopher James Hunter. Galia Kamas. Christopher Youngmin Kim. Isabel Linda Larson. Connor Leach. James Emerson Leach IV. Madison Renee Leach. Amari Jatwan London. Maisie Grace Lucia. Owen Thomas Liao. Natalie Brooke Magali. Mason Alexander Montague. James Brian Montgomery. Sasha Megan Moreau. Destiny Deanna Moultrie. Vivian Thung Nguyen. Lamaya Estrella Nunez. Shayla Elizabeth O'Brien. Isabella Bella Achman. Dakota Ashley Palmer. Leah Marie Patram. And Francis Pham. Matthew Everett Porter. Rayshawn Sharif Andre Raglan. Elijah Austin Rector. Emily Michelle Ritelski. Alexandra Reyes. Seth Martin Richardson. Caden Matthew Reish. Susan Catherine Rowell. Alan Said Salguero Munoz. Harley Sanders. Elliot Dallas Scheid. Brian Patrick Schwier. Aaron Devon Shelton. Kaylin Emily Sifford. Martha Eunice Silva. Dylan Anthony Smith. Maya Ray Smith. Eden Lee Southern. Aiden Seth Kyle Stewart. Ian Davis Sutcliffe. Joel Linnell Taylor. Caleb Amar Thomas. Andrea Fernanda Torres Vasquez. Joseph Graham Turner IV. Maxwell Joseph Ubriaco. Kevin Alexander Velasquez. Nathaniel Paul Whiteside. Kaeja DeAndrea Williams. Brian James Young. Caleb Luther Yantz.
A big round of applause for the class of 2022. This is the portion of the show when we give our charge to the class of 2022. I don't know if there's a more deserving stallion in our history than Brandon Moore. Mr. Brandon Moore graduated from Queens Grant High School in 2015. He was in my psychology class, so that helps. After that, he went to Morehouse College and graduated in 2019. He is currently working on his master's at Georgia State. Without any further ado, Mr. Brandon Moore.
We are what? Oh, no, we are what? We are what? Give it up, mighty, mighty stallions. We are stallions. To the parents, to the staff, to the board, to Mr. Tom, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. It brings me great honor to come home, man. I love my school, and we've been trying to get me up here since about 2021, 2020, 2021, And it's a testament to who you are as students to finish through a global pandemic, aside of everything else that you've gone through as a student. I give you the utmost respect. Congratulations. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? All right. This is the hardest speech for me to give because y'all have already said everything that I wanted to say. But the main thing that I will tell you is that you are in charge. And not only are you in charge, but keep doing what you are doing. You've been an inspiration to me. You've been an inspiration to your classmates. You've been an inspiration to your parents. You've been an inspiration to this world. And I want to tell you something. There is no place like Queens Grant in the world. From the lower school to the high school, this is an experience that no one else gets but you. Take that, run with it. Run with it so far that you don't even get that the things that you do think of come true. My first point that I want to give you is to always, always, always have an attitude of gratitude. Be who you are, know where you come from, and always praise the bridges that brought you over. Queens Grant has brought you over. Your parents have brought you over. Your grandparents have brought you over. All of these people deserve respect. So graduates, please stand right now and give your support system the biggest round of applause because they are the ones who got you here. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Oh yeah, keep clapping. And parents, guardians, families, and friends, I want you to stand right now and give these graduates a major round of applause for everything that they have done. Fannie Lou Hamer said it best. Always, 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 never forget where you come from and praise the bridges that brought you over. When I sat in your seats in 2015, I looked at the person given the charge and I told myself I would be that person. Today, I charge you to be me. Come back, whatever you do, even if it's just volunteering, even if it's commenting on Facebook, even if it's telling Miss Bryant, hey, we love you, thank you for always being there, because she has always been here. Never, never, never forget your stallion pride. Have it. Go with it. I mean, just grow into whatever it is that you want to be. I also charge you to take time to listen. Listen to yourself. Listen to your intuition. Listen, listen, listen to anyone who is trying to teach you something. Be a student of life. I have learned so many things just from listening to everyone, from the janitors all the way to the principal, from kings and queens all the way to people who may not even have homes, but they do have something for you. We're in this thing together, this thing called life, and as we continue to go through this life, and it gets harder and harder every day, we must depend on one another. So do not be afraid of community. Do not be afraid of joining, collaborating, being together. If you have not created a friendship in which you feel like you're going to have for the rest of your life, create one. Find a friend and make more friends. Do whatever you can to stay together within yourself and outside of yourself. And I'm telling you, if you find what you love, and you do what you love, and you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I got that from a janitor. He told me that because he enjoys what he does. You must find your fire and keep it going. Enjoy what you do. Love what you do. Enjoy who you are. Be yourself. And don't apologize for it. Okay? Sound like a plan? This is my charge to you as you mighty, mighty stallions of class of 2022. Keep doing what you're doing and never forget where you come from. And always praise the bridges that brought you over. All right.
I could see that listening lesson still rings true. I had a little lesson in psychology years and years ago, and I had a very simple thing. It said, I bet you we could solve all the world's problems with one word, and that was listening. So, feels good that he remembers. Unfortunately, one of the most significant, most important people in Queens Grant history can't be here with us today. He was one of the more significant mentors and role models for the students at Queens Grant High School. He was not only a great part of our history, but he will always be part of our history. He was a kind man, a great mentor, a great friend. Rest in peace, Mr. Tom. I'm going to leave you with one last bit of advice. Keep it short and sweet. In the words of Charlie Chaplin, you need power only when you want to do something harmful. Otherwise, love is enough to get everything done. To the class of 2022, a great thank you for all the memories. I wish you all the best of luck. You may now turn your tassel from right to left. Just in case they start throwing things. The class of 2022 will follow me out to the middle area here, and then the parents will join us. Please wait until all the graduates are out. Cheers, class of 2022. You are dismissed to the next episode.